Alright, let's get her going. Perfect. And let's wait for the capture to actually capture. There it is. Alright, cool. We're starting the next episode of Ace Attorney Chronicles. How's everybody doing? We're on episode 2, The Adventure of the Unbreakable Speckled Band. Very concise title. I will also warn people that this may be a short stream because I am fucking exhausted today. I've been trying new sleep medication and pretty sure the stuff I tried makes me incredibly lethargic the next day.
In a corner of that small,
so I'm feeling it.
dark room, Sholmes
We'll see.
and I waited with bated breath.
His name actually is Sholmes.
In time, there came from the ventilator a hiss and a soft, almost growl-like sound. Suddenly, Sholmes sprang into action, lashing furiously with his cane at a point in the darkness. "You see it, Wilson?" he yelled, his tense voice reverberating through the air. I raised my dark lantern shutter, and the room slowly came into view. Sholmes was staring intently at one particular corner when he started whispering to me. The victim's most perplexing final words. The Speckled Band. I believe this is the terrible coil to which she referred, Wilson. In front of us was an enormous adder, its fangs bared as it threatened to strike. It truly was the most terrible speckled band I had ever seen.
Are we gonna have to defend a snake in court? Alright, I have no idea what that means. We're gonna find out. 9th of January, 6:37 a.m. on board the steamship Burya. Oh, more cutscene.
So then, let us unravel this mystery and discover what events led to this curious.
That Herlock.
Pray, do excuse me.
Wait, is that
Windows
what's
bolted
nuts
from the inside
on the
when
ground?
man was killed. No marks to suggest the bolt was tampered with in any way.
The Mia figure.
This would appear to be a locked room mystery. In his final moments, the victim scrawled a message on the floor. Almost certainly with the ink from this upset bottle.
How was his name?
A Russian word. So the victim was a Russian man then.
Oh, okay,
And
now.
the letters are well formed, suggesting he was compos mentis at the time. This is a most extraordinary script. And evidently not penned by the same hand as this message. In fact, I deduce it was written by
Oh
someone
my
of
God.
different nationality.
What? You have a... What the fuck even is that? Oh, it's a...
This paper seal was placed just
Jesus
prior to the incident
Christ.
by the victim himself, I would venture. Well, what have we here?
That's just silly.
Who are you, and what do you think you're doing here?
No one must touch before maritime police come. We must wait.
That
Is that
will
Matt Mercer?
be necessary.
I think it
You see,
is.
in less than 5 seconds from now, I will reveal the killer to you.
What? Don't be absurd. This is murder. I need cabin locked from inside.
Ah yes, the locked room. But that mystery is paper thin.
You don't mean the culprit is in there?
Why does she have a British accent? She's Japanese.
Who are you, and where have you come from?
I'm a great British consultant detective, the only one in the world. Herlock Sholmes. I presume you must have heard of me.
Gotta dodge that copyright somehow. Not even gonna show us what's in there? Come on now. Ah, my head is throbbing. What's going on? Something's not right here. There's trouble in the air. I can smell it. I was about to say the room's black and white. That's the problem. Oh. Controller. Get him to unplug that. Wait! I can't move! Oh, not again! Don't tell me that Ryunosuke is like the one who's always like the accused. It's like if Maya got her own video game. Ah, what the? Why am I in handcuffs? So you wake up now, hmm? Is that Herlock? Oh no, it's this dude. To drag you out of the wardrobe. I do not believe how you could not wake up. You are a true cold-blooded man. You. Ah, you found me then. Duh, we found you. And now you pay, criminal. How long are you hiding in that tiny wardrobe, hmm? Sorry. Now you have been found, it is time to admit your crimes. Unless you want to find out how cold the ocean is, hmm? No, I'll tell you everything. Only one thing I'd like to know from you. Who's this? Isn't that... Ah. That's Susato. Why did you do it? Why did you take his life? Miss Susato? Wait, what did you say? Take his life? Where is he? Where's Kazuma? Ha! You pretend you do not know? You are a wolf in sheep's belt. You are the killer. Do not try to make excuses. Fuck me, he did actually die. What? Kazuma-sama's body was discovered not long ago. Here, in this very cabin. It was bolted shut from the inside. His body? Please, do not try to tell us you are doing this terrible thing in your sleep. Kazuma's dead? But he can't be. These handcuffs. Sure you don't think I have to know. Why did you take Kazuma-sama's life? Answer me, please. No. No! I knew it. Kazuma. It was just 2 short weeks ago. Are you sure about this? Won't we get in trouble? Ha 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 ha! Don't you find it fun being a stowaway? Besides, how else could you come to England with me to study? It was really something else when they brought your luggage in here earlier, though. The way that Russian crewman just tossed your traveling case onto the floor. I thought I was going to die. Yes, I still can't quite believe that. I really didn't think you'd be able to fit inside my trunk. You must be even less of a man than you look. Hey, honestly, I thought I'd broken every bone in my body. Well, it's about 50 days until we dock in Great Britain. But if you confine yourself to my cabin here, I don't expect anyone will discover you. Ah, hope not. I get the feeling those Russians wouldn't be very forgiving of a stowaway. They're a sturdy bunch, that's for sure. What I want to know is, why do we need to keep it a secret from the young lady? From our faithful judicial assistant Mikotoba, you mean? From your close friend, more to the point. Surely we could confide in her, couldn't we? I don't believe she'd give me away. No, but if she knew what we'd done, that would make her guilty by association. It's best that only you and I know about this. I suppose so. Anyway, it's about the time that the steward is supposed to come and clean the cabin. I know it's cramped, but you'd better get in there, I think. It won't be for long. And anyway, compared to hiding inside my traveling case, it'll be a breeze. Yes, but what if the steward decides to open the wardrobe for some reason? Then I'll be in for it. Stop worrying. I'll tell you what, why don't you write keep out or something on this piece of paper? What? Then I can stick it over the wardrobe doors once you're inside. I don't know. Gee, I don't know. Hey, remember what I said last stream about that guy possibly being, like, one of Edgeworth's relatives? Guess not. You've only been at sea for about 15 days. How can this have happened? We were supposed to be going on this adventure to England together. You leave you at the next port. Stay quiet until then. Don't make more trouble for yourself. Murderer? No, I'm not a murderer. You said before, you said you admit everything about their crimes. No, that's not right. I mean, yes, I did stow away on this ship, but murdering my best friend? No one else could have done it. Admit the truth. Susato-san? Please, tell me what happened. I need to know. Very well. But there is something I would like to ask of you, too. Ah, those eyes. She looks like she's ready to destroy me. This nightmare's getting worse by the minute. I suppose all I can do is try to find out what really happened. Ah, there we go. Kazuma's death. What happened? He really has been killed, hasn't he? This isn't just a bad dream. These handcuffs. They think I did it? Think I'm Kazuma's killer? When they found him, the cabin was locked from the inside. What do you mean? There's no access to the cabin via a porthole window, and the bolt on the door can't be operated from outside. In other words, after the crime, the culprit couldn't have escaped these four walls. What? Or to put it another way, the culprit can only have been somebody inside this cabin. Or do you have some other explanation? This is impossible. How did he die then? What happened exactly? Are you still going to deny the charge, even despite the circumstances? Please, Susato-san, you have to tell me. The cause of death is still undetermined. I don't know how he died. The ship's doctor is examining the body, but of course, he has no post-mortem analysis experience. I don't suppose we shall learn more until an expert has been consulted at our next port of call. I feel like in this game, like, cause of death is going to come up a lot. It seems like something that, because they don't have the science to accurately determine that now, like, that's going to constantly be a question. Is like, how did he actually die? Which is an interesting, like, it's an interesting addition to the mystery. Because it's like now it's an unknown element that you have to deal with now. I think it's really cool. I don't suppose we should learn more until the next expert has been consulted at our next port of call. So presumably that means there were no obvious external signs of injury then. That's true, yes. Okay, so possibly poison. Can't anyone tell me what actually happened here in this cabin? I don't understand it. Why would anyone want to kill Kazuma? Presumably that's something you know the answer to better than anyone. Please. Whatever you say, you were here in the cabin after all. Well, yes, I was, but... He would always wake before dawn and do his training first thing in the morning. I was waiting outside his cabin as I have every day so far on this voyage. But this morning, he did not come. I could sense that he wouldn't. Does that mean he was already dead when Susato-san arrived at his cabin door, I wonder? I knocked, but there was no reply. Then I started to become worried, so I went to find a member of the crew. The crewman forced the cabin door open, and when we managed to get inside... There was Kazuma-sama, collapsed on the floor. Shit. Why did you write a Russian message there? That's gotta be part of the mystery of, like, Ozma doesn't fucking know Russian. And the white tape there now shows exactly where he was found, I suppose. I had no idea anything had happened. I must have been asleep in the wardrobe somehow. I wish it wasn't the case, but that's just very hard to believe. This is all very hard to believe for me too, trust me. Now I've told you everything that I know, so it's my turn to ask you a question. Yes, alright. Ah, my head feels so heavy. It's still throbbing like anything. Ah. Stowaway. Why are you even on board this ship, Naruhodo-san? You said something before about being a stowaway, didn't you? Oh, yes. I'm afraid that's true. It's 2 weeks since we left Japan now, and I've been shut up in this cabin the entire time. I had no idea. But how could you have occupied Kazuma-sama's cabin for so long without him noticing? No, that would have been impossible, obviously. Yes, of course. Kazuma invited me. He wanted us to go to England together. He actually asked you. But why? I'm afraid I don't really know the reason myself. I don't understand. Kazuma, why do you want this? What's the real reason? Why go to such extreme lengths to smuggle me to England with you? It's an idea that's been on my mind ever since the end of that incredible trial. I think I told you then, didn't I, that you ought to become a lawyer yourself? Well, yes, you did say that, but I didn't think you were serious. You have a talent for it, I can assure you of that. I never really thought about becoming a lawyer. Well, that's something you can decide for yourself. London is the spearhead of cultural development, the center of the world in many ways. There can't be any harm in seeing such an important place with your own eyes, can there? Well, no, definitely not. But on a personal level, if you were to become a lawyer, then... Then what? Nothing. Forget it. We still don't know what his secret mission was.
Kazuma-sama he was always saying the same thing. That he wanted to change the Japanese legal system. Perhaps he thought he could do that with you.
Yes, maybe. But something's still bothering me a little. The look in his eyes then. It was darker than I've ever seen it before. Susato-san. I'm sorry that we kept it a secret from you. My stowing away on the ship, I mean.
If I know Kazuma-sama, I expect he was trying to protect me, to avoid me becoming guilty by association.
That's exactly right, yes. Word perfect, in fact.
If you're not the culprit, then tell me. What happened last night here in this cabin?
Well, the thing is, I don't really remember. Kazuma brought me something to eat, just like he always did. And then I got myself into that wardrobe over there, just like I always did. After that, I...
Fell asleep?
Well, yes.
So deeply that you didn't even stir when Kazuma-sama was killed?
Well, yes. I know it sounds unbelievable, really I do, but it's the truth. If only I'd woken up, then perhaps I wouldn't be in this predicament. For some reason, my head's still throbbing like anything.
Really?
Something wrong?
Oh, no, it's... Please, forget it.
I'm certainly not going to. Not when you act that suspicious. Susato-san, you have to believe me, I didn't do it.
I really don't want to doubt you. But the trouble is, there was no one else who could possibly have done this.
We've heard all of these words before. Like 2 weeks ago. Kazuma, I don't understand. Why? Why did this have to happen? I can't take this.
Don't try to go anywhere. You're the perpetrator of this crime. You can't leave. I can't allow that to happen.
I'm sorry. But Kazuma was killed right under my nose here. And I didn't do anything to stop it. And now I'm supposed to just sit around, my hands tied, while whoever did this walks free? No! I can't allow that to happen.
Well, what do you propose to do then?
I'm going to investigate. I'm going to find out exactly what happened here. I'm going to work out who took Kazuma's life, and how and why they did it. So I'm sorry, but you're going to have to excuse me. Hiya! Oh, that was Susato. Oh, she fucking flipped my ass. Get rotated, idiot. What the?
That was a Susato takedown.
Susato, what? What martial arts form is that?
I'm going to need you to prove it.
Sorry? Prove it?
Yes, your innocence. I need evidence.
But how am I supposed to...
Have you forgotten already? What you achieved just a few weeks ago. You successfully defended yourself in a court of law.
Ah, I see. He's expecting me to present some conclusive evidence. I have to get Susato-san to believe me. I'll show her some evidence right now that proves I'm not guilty of this awful crime. This, right? Paper seal. I'm supposed to stick this over the doors of the wardrobe. Yeah, because this was pressed over the doors, right? So I wouldn't have been able to get out of the closet without breaking that seal. So it couldn't have been me. Anything? Let's see the remnants of the glue we used to stick this over the wardrobe doors. It wasn't proper glue, of course. We didn't have any of that with us. So what the fuck did you use? So I pulverized some rice into a paste to use instead. Oh, I was actually going to guess that it was rice. That's an old style of adhesive. But to a stowaway like me, every single grain of rice represents precious rations. That's why I spread it as thinly as I possibly could. I couldn't bear to waste any. Okay. This is the paper seal I wrote for the wardrobe. I remember really working hard to make it. But I'll never forget how Kazuma reacted. You'd expect the Russian crew to be able to read that? He said. Still, I was sure people would get the idea, even if they couldn't read it. So we used it anyways. And it worked. I don't know if the crew thought it was creepy or what, but no one opened the doors. Okay, it's gotta be this.
Yes!
Tell me, when I was discovered in the wardrobe before, was this piece of paper stuck over the doors?
Oh, yes, it was. I remember it clearly.
I thought so. Kazuma always put it in place whenever I went to sleep in there. Just in case the cabin steward or another crew member decided to look inside. So naturally, he did the same last night as well.
Ah, yes, of course. The gentleman who discovered you peeled that sign from the wardrobe doors before he opened them.
But if I were truly the culprit, I couldn't have climbed back inside the wardrobe and stuck this on the outside of the doors on my own.
Yes, that's quite true.
In other words, it's impossible that I killed Kazuma. How did nobody else put this together? Like, come on. Nobody is this dumb.
Well, even if you are sprawled hopelessly on the floor, I can see why Kazuma-sama thought so highly of you.
Thank you, Susato-san. Now, do you think perhaps you could help me up?
Well, in the light of that evidence, I don't see any reason why I should stop you from investigating in here at least.
Thank you. So you finally believe me?
I'm sorry, no.
What?
I'm not sure yet. I can't rule out the possibility that you used some sort of conjuring trick to put the sign back in position.
Does she think I am, a magician?
For now, I suggest you investigate as thoroughly as possible in here. I'll do the same.
Alright, let's get to work, Susato-san.
Please don't misunderstand me. I still have my doubts.
Oh.
I shall be watching you, to make sure you do nothing that might disturb the crime scene. I wouldn't want you using your conjuring tricks to destroy evidence, for example.
Right. Well, anyway, I should make a start on investigating in here. Examine everything I can. Kazuma, I swear, I will avenge your death. Ah, this old song and dance. Can I move anywhere? When handcuffs and under house arrest by the crew, not to mention Susato-san's constant glares. I think it's fair to say that I'm stuck in this cabin for the time being, at least. I should focus on investigating here to see what I can find out. Alright. Let us examine. Oh, this guy's still in here. He just watched all that happen, huh? Okay. What does it say? Seigi, the Japanese word for justice. The brushstrokes are straight and true, just like Kazuma.
Yes, his calligraphy always was a reflection of his heart. Yet you, can you really look at those characters without feeling shame, knowing who drew them so thoughtfully?
Of course I can. I mean, I'm innocent, so why shouldn't I be able to?
Even though you stowed away on this ship?
Got me there. And you're going to bring that up, are you? I can't win.
Oh dear, that won't do.
Oh, what's the matter, Susato-san?
Whenever I'm examining things, I always find myself so focused I forget to look around properly.
Oh, is this going to tell me that you can, like, change perspectives and stuff like that? Yes, that's not good.
I don't suppose you're as foolish as me in that regard, are you, Naruhodo-san?
Yep.
I'm sure you're careful to look all around using BM, aren't you? Now, let's investigate all corners of this cabin.
Yes, let's do that. I suppose my field of vision has been rather small until now. If only I knew what you meant by BM. What is this? Is that like the leg of a turkey? I can't even... I guess? Because it looks like the white thing that they put on turkey legs. I have no idea what the fuck it is. Or what it's even used for. That's my dinner from last night. A roast chicken. Yeah. It was really tasty.
Yes, it was very delicious, wasn't it? But, did you eat it on the floor here?
I'm not a dog, Susato-san. I ate on the table, of course. Which begs the question of when and how the plate ended up on the floor.
But Kazuma-sama didn't like chicken at all, did he?
No, that's right, so we didn't touch it. Which meant all the more for me.
Oh no! Does that mean poor Kazuma-sama spent his last night on this earth with an empty belly? It's just too horrible.
Now I suddenly have a guilty conscience and an achy stomach. Nobody deserves to be hungry. Look at the sword.
That's Kazuma-sama's precious sword.
He never went anywhere without it. It's weird to just call it a sword and not a katana, considering the Japanese word for sword is just katana, but like in the West you always differentiate it because it's two different styles of sword. It's weird to just call it katana a sword to me. I don't know why. I'm just too used to it just being a katana. Yes, he was always saying that a Japanese man's... Alright, never mind. They're also differentiating. Oops, I hit the mic stand. Yes, he was always saying that a Japanese man's katana is his soul.
I believe he had to work very hard to convince the government to allow him to bring it on this trip.
Yeah, no kidding. I suppose that shows just how important it was to him. Wasn't this like after the time historically where like they did a whole like sword hunt where they basically rounded up all the katanas that people had and then like disposed of them? So it's extra impressive that he has one because I think that was before this period of time. Maybe after? I'm not super sure when that happened. I just know it did happen. And now he's gone, but I'm not ready to let his spirit go just yet. Okay, what is this? Looks like a flower petal or like a scale or something? I don't know what the fuck that is. Oh, it's a bell. What do you think this is? It looks like a broken piece of glassware. Whatever the thing was, it appears to have broken clean in two. At least it looks like a bell to me. But if it's made out of glass, I don't think they typically make bells out of glass, so that probably doesn't make sense. I don't know what else it would be.
The glass is such a beautiful color. Looks like a cute little Netsuke fastener from a kimono outfit.
I'm not sure that sounds like Kazuma. He wouldn't have secretly carried a cute little trinket like this around with him. Would he?
And the mark beside it. What is it, I wonder? It has a sort of brick-like hue.
Yes, you're right. It is the color of brick, isn't it? Even though I don't see anything of the same color anywhere else in the cabin. More evidence? Did Kazuma write that before he died? Looks like it's written in ink.
He must have knocked the ink pot from the desk when he collapsed on the floor.
I suppose he wrote this message by dipping his finger in the spillage. Poor Kazuma-sama. No doubt he was in terrible pain. It's almost unbearable to imagine it. I suppose he was trying to leave some kind of a clue in his final moments, was he? I'm sorry, partner, but I can't read your writing.
I don't think that's Japanese, Naruhodo-san.
What? Then what language is it?
It pains me to admit it, but I don't know.
It's not a foreign script I'm familiar with. What does it mean, I wonder? No idea. What in here?
That's a very large traveling case, isn't it?
Yes, it carries a lot of memories for me.
Memories? What do you mean?
Well, that's actually how I stowed away on this vessel. I was brought on board inside that case.
Ah, yes, I see it says "this way up" in Japanese.
Which, in hindsight, I should have realized the foreign crewman wouldn't be able to read. I was turned over and over and over, and then I was tossed on the floor in here.
Oh dear. Being a stowaway isn't as romantic as it sounds.
Well, it was less painful than a Susato takedown. Okay, what does this say? These are the rules of passage for travel aboard the SS Buria.
It's essentially a list of requests from the captain to all passengers on board.
Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden. That's gonna come up. What? Why are you staring at me?
Oh, sorry. I was just thinking. Are you more of a dangerous object or a pet? I can't decide.
Well, one thing's for sure. Either way, I wasn't supposed to be in there. Hey, they didn't have a rule against stowaways, so...
This is where dear Kazuma-sama would have sat whenever he was writing.
London Diary. Poor Kazuma, he didn't even make it to his destination.
It looks as though the last entry is incomplete.
Which means... what? He was in the middle of writing it when the incident happened? Let's see what it says. Could be a valuable clue.
Hiya! That's out of the question.
What?
Kazuma-sama may have departed this world, but you must not read his private thoughts.
But what if it's something important? Something relevant to the case? Alright, I won't read it.
Poor Kazuma-sama.
I don't like prying into people's personal matters either. But in this case, isn't the need for clues more important? Okay, probably read that at a later date. What's this vent up here?
I think that's some kind of opening for a ventilator. A hole through which fresh air can circulate into the cabin.
Isn't that a little odd?
What do you mean?
Well, this ventilator, if that's what it is, looks like it must connect to the next door cabin.
Yes, it would appear to. You're right.
But if its purpose is to allow fresh air into the room, surely it would be connected to the outside.
That's true. Perhaps it's so that rain and spray don't find their way in when the seas are rough, or something like that?
I suppose. Maybe that's it. Oh! Hi! Where? How did we not? What the fuck are we even doing? Is that really the best way to look under the desk? Is that the most efficient way? Really? Who's that? He wasn't there a minute ago. As far as I can tell, it looks like he might be European.
Oh, how did he...
You've noticed the man too, have you? I have no idea who he is or how he got in here, but he looks suspicious. And tall. Suspiciously tall.
Naruhodo-san, don't tell me. Do you really not know who that is?
Well, no. I don't have any foreign friends or acquaintances at all. Doesn't look like a member of the crew. There's something very unusual about him. Is he investigating Kazuma's desk, or is he just playing on it? I can't tell.
Well, in that case, we simply must talk with him.
Am I just imagining it, or does Susato-san look almost uncontrollably excited?
By the way, I expect that you've noticed already, but just in case, if you press space on people when they're in the crosshairs, you can converse with them.
Alright then, I'll get the suspiciously tall gentleman to my sights and see what he has to say for himself.
Oh, please do.
I don't have any crosshairs, but well, I don't know what space means either. But I'll just go up and talk to him like a normal person. Excuse me. Excuse me, do you have a moment?
Shh. This is a critical point in my investigation.
Maybe I should leave him alone. He seems a little unfriendly.
Yes, perhaps that would be for the best.
Greetings! I hope I haven't kept you long. Ah! Well, I like his theme. If this is his theme. What exactly were we doing on Cosmo's desk just now? This fucker really is tall.
Ah, I see. Fascinating.
Sorry? What do you see? Feels like he's looking right through me.
Oh yes, everything is clear now. The train of reasoning has run its course. My deductions have crystallized. You have been in Afghanistan, I perceive. Just recently returned, if I'm not mistaken.
Sorry? What?
And now, whilst venturing toward foreign climes, you find yourself in a most troubling predicament.
Oh, well, that's true at least.
But how? How the deuce did I know that, perhaps? It was really a most elementary deduction, hardly worth explaining. Have you perhaps managed to deduce anything else? But of course, a great many things. There is no mystery, my dear madam. For example, you have fled your native land of Russia, being, as you are, a merciless revolutionary. You have 16 victims of assassination in your wake, and now travel to England to blow up the Crystal Tower, to destroy the Allegan history and remnants, so as not to let anyone use its terrible power, especially the Ashians, for bad purposes. Yes. And when the ribbon document of this very cabin discovered your identity, you ended his life too. Yes, I believe that summarizes the facts beautifully. No need to hide the truth now. Nothing deceives these eyes.
Just to be clear, you are talking about me, are you?
Certainly I am.
That fucking Mandelbert pose.
Do you see another in this cabin who fits the bill? A Russian assassin with 16 victims to his name?
I don't even see one person who fits the bill.
So it's true. It was you who did this to Kazuma-sama.
What?
And you're plotting a revolution, too. It's shameful behavior, Naruto-san. Absolutely wicked.
No, listen, there's no way I...
Hiya!
For Christ's sake.
Now explain yourself. Tell me everything.
This is ridiculous.
How could you do it?
For pity's sake, open your eyes. I'm not a Russian revolutionary, obviously. Whoops, hit autoplay.
Oh, forgive me.
And as for you, what kind of deduction was that? You were just saying the first thing that came into your head.
Ah, but was I not right? Whilst venturing toward foreign climes, you do find yourself in a most troubling predicament. Do you not?
Well, yes, maybe.
Ha! There you have it, you see? What do you make of that,
Well, to be honest, this ship is en route to England, and I'm in handcuffs at the scene of a murder. So, I'm not really sure you could have called it deduction or plain observation.
Indeed, and observation, my dear boy, is the basis of all deduction. My method is founded upon the observation of trifles, you see. I announce my findings with a brassy certitude. And more often than not, I'm right.
I don't think you introduced yourself.
Ah, my apologies. How remiss of me. I am none other than the greatest detective of the century, known to men and women the world over. The inimitable Sherlock Sholmes. So, it's really you, the actual Sherlock Sholmes. The very same, the imitable, actual Herlock Sholmes. Definitely not an infringement of copyright. Do you know this man, Susato-san? The most famous detective in the world? Naruhodo-san, of course I do. There's nobody who hasn't heard of him.
What planet have I been living on, then?
You must ask him what he's deduced. He will have worked out the entire case already, I'm sure.
Really? Why do I feel uneasy about this? Alright, let's talk to him. Just quickly clear all my pings in Discord because all of a sudden it's happening. Gotta remember I have an op tomorrow. Oh, I just have to respond to this. Cool. I might have to take a quick break and stream to deal with that. That's fine. Converse. Yeah, great detective, air quotes. So, you're a great detective, are you? Sorry, what was your name again?
Indeed, I am none other than the one and only Herlock Sholmes.
Oh, I see. You're German? Herlock, was it?
No, I have no hair. I mean, I have hair. Please, call me Sholmes. You can read all about my exploits in this exciting London publication. Oh, yes. Ranced magazine full of wonderful short stories and interest articles from Great Britain. I never miss an issue. I have it sent from England especially.
Ah, yes, here it is. The Adventures of Herlock Sholmes. So, you're the protagonist in a series of short stories, then?
Indeed I am.
And you've read so many of your own stories, you've started to think you really are a detective.
Make no mistake, I am not the poor deluded fellow you take me for. Your inference is backward.
Backward?
My trusty biographer records my greatest detecting achievements and chronicles them in a magazine.
You have a biographer, do you?
Doesn't everyone? Mine goes by the name of Dr. Wilson, presently keeping shop in London.
Dr. Wilson?
I must say, thanks to that publication, I've been fantastically busy of late. Why, this very moment I am returning from Asia, having solved the mystery of a cursed royal crown.
Really? I can't work out whether I should take this man seriously or not.
Deduction, you see, is to me a science. Logical reasoning in its purest form.
A science? Really?
The astute observer notices even the most subtle of reactions in his subject. A furtive glance, a twitch of a muscle, a slight inclination of the posture. Fingernails, arm sleeves, furrows in the skin. All these things are data.
Right.
And the trained logician makes deductions from this data in the blink of an eye. The ultimate conclusion is, without fail, the truth. As I demonstrated only a few short moments ago.
How can you look me in the eye and claim that?
So you see, I have a turn both for observation and for deduction, and fame. That is what makes me the one and only Herlock Sholmes.
Alright, well what do you know? Have you managed to deduce anything about this particular case yet?
Have I managed to deduce anything? My dear fellow. Who do you suppose discovered the culprit in his most cunning hiding place? And that's right. It was none other than the great detective before you now, Mr. Herlock Sholmes.
Ah, I see. In other words, I'm in these now because of him.
I became anxious about Kazuma-sama this morning. I summoned all the crew members to force the cabin's door open. And I concealed myself among their number, gaining entry to the scene of the crime. Yes, luckily for everyone, the great detective, Herlock Sholmes, was on board. And the handcuffs seemed to be an excellent fit, Mr. Naruhodo. Ah. The very moment I laid eyes on the scene, 2 facts were immediately apparent to me.
Oh, really? 2 facts, you say?
Ah. 2 facts.
Mr. Sholmes, tell us, please, what 2 facts were apparent to you when you came into this cabin this morning?
Ah, yes. But first, let us be precise. The 2 facts in question were immediately apparent to me.
Yes, I understand, but what were they?
Allow me to elucidate.
Oops. Keep hitting autoplay.
The 2 facts that I deduced from a mere momentary glance at the scene of the crime were as follows. Number 1, the cabin was locked from within, rendering escape of the culprit out of the question. Number 2, the victim was Russian and killed following a dispute with an acquaintance.
Hold on, Mr. Sholmes, what made you think the victim was Russian?
Observe the dying message left by the victim on the floor. That is the Russian word for wardrobe. Do you really think Kazuma could have left a dying message in Russian? In their final moments, many find the native tongue filling their head. For this young man, Russian.
Kazuma was Russian, was he?
Initially, I considered Garderobe may be the name of the killer. A certain Robert Gard, perhaps. But in the interests of thoroughness, I decided it would be wrong not to look inside the wardrobe there at least. Where did you find Mr. Naruhodo sleeping soundly? Quite so. I found you, the renowned Russian revolutionary killer.
Why is it that I'm Russian too?
I observed that you are wearing the same attire as the victim. In other words, you were acquainted. And if my memory serves, that outfit is the traditional dress of the Russian people. RSQ uniforms of the traditional dress of the Russian people. I had no idea.
And I had no idea the detective could get something so wrong.
I took a photograph of the victim in the message, that I might analyze it for possible hidden details. This was taken immediately after the young man was discovered, before the body was removed.
Yes, Kazuma had already been taken away when I woke up. This is the first time I've actually seen him like this. I mean, if it hadn't been the first time you'd seen him like that, that means he would have died before, which doesn't make any fucking sense, so.
Are you alright, Mr. Naruhodo?
Oh, yes, thank you. Photograph the crime scene has been entered into the court record. Sorry, it's responding to the message. Russian word for wardrobe. Can I ask you something, Mr. Sholmes?
What, pray?
You mentioned Russia before as well, didn't you? You know, when you said I was a fearsome revolutionary fleeing from Russia and all that?
Ah, yes, the train of reasoning that led me to the truth.
Do you mind explaining that train of reasoning to me, do you think?
Certainly, if it interests you.
How many times? I'm not Russian. I don't speak Russian. Okay. Can we talk about your deduction before? The things you concluded about me, I mean?
Ah, the now famously accurate troubling predicament you find yourself in.
Actually, it was the other details that I was more hoping to discuss. You know, the merciless Russian revolutionary and assassin of 16 part.
Ah, yes, the more sordid details. It was a fairly commonplace deduction. Here we have this morning's paper. The main headline reads, Revolutionary villain Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai. This vessel made a port call at Shanghai yesterday, and last night the young Russian was murdered. Wait a minute, would it be faster to go through
Russia to get to England? Wouldn't it be faster geographically to go east instead of west? Well, no, probably not, because then you'd have to go overland through North America, because there's no... Well, is there a sea passage in between North America and South America? Is there a way to get through there, or is it like one big land wall? Because there's like the Panama Canal nowadays, but that wasn't always the thing. That was an artificial creation. I'm not sure what that was, but I think it was like fairly recent, so I don't think it would have existed at this time. So yeah, I guess it would have been faster to go that way. This vessel made a port call, yes. Well, and last night a young Russian was murdered. Since when was Cosmo a Russian? Sounds like Mr. Sholmes has concluded he was Russian because of what Kazuma-sama wrote on the floor. It was a simple act of reasoning to realize that the culprit of this crime was the same merciless revolutionary. One who would kill the very man he helped him to escape after his true identity was discovered. Yes, you, villain Bolshevik. No, how could it be me? I don't look anything like this man, just look at his face. Well, you are a fearsome revolutionary after all. Therefore, you have no doubt learned to revolutionize your appearance as well. Ah, please. And I might add, your name does not appear on the ship's passenger list. Need I say more? Well, that's because I'm a stowaway. What about the other details? The 16 victims of assassination and blowing up the Crystal Tower. Ah yes, the journalist clearly interviewed the man and printed all those particulars in the article. The deeds the man has perpetrated thus far and those he is plotting. Yes, everything about this revolutionary Bolshevik was included. There can be no mistake. Do revolutionaries usually agree to interviews with newspaper reporters, I wonder? And what about the part where you said I was just returning from Afghanistan? Also quite clearly stated here in the article. Bolshevik is recently returned after a period of subversive activities in a war-torn region of Afghanistan. Man, a war-torn region of Afghanistan. So, Afghanistan. What part of the region is not war-torn at any point during history? That fucking place cannot catch a break. It's called the Graveyard of Empires for a reason. Where even is it anyway? This Afghanistan place. Yeah, take the paper for yourself, and as a little memento of this great deduction. Oh, thank you. I've absorbed all that is of interest to me within its pages, but I see no rubbish bin nearby. Cool. Alright, I'll take a look at that later. And you may find the article on the back page of interest as well. On the back. Cast your eye over it sometime if the interest takes you, though you may need someone to interpret. It's all written in Russian. Couldn't hope to read it. But I suppose it wouldn't hurt just to glance at the article. Maybe there might be a picture or two. Okay. Before we started talking, you were examining Kazuma's desk, weren't you? Kazuma? Ah, yes, the victim. Did you notice anything useful? Anything at all? Observe for a moment the desktop of the victim. We see that the victim was engaged in penning some text. London Diary. Kazuma was keeping notes of the trip. Ah, but I don't think you should read his private writings. It could upset people. Tragic. And something you ought to perhaps elucidate before the act of reading. You mean you've read it already? It is my business to know what other people do not. Yes, believe it or not, I know a smattering of Japanese. Oh, I see. Well, you're about to know what a Susato takedown is. Susato-san, aren't you going to throw the detective with one of your trademark takedowns? I'm sorry, Naruhodo-san. What on earth do you mean? Life is so unfair. The good old Phoenix Wright family curse. Anyway, to return to the matter at hand, namely this diary belonged to the victim. It would appear the final sentence is incomplete, as if the author were cut short. Tell me, what is the nature of the writing?
Pray, be precise as to the details.
Oh, but I thought you knew Japanese.
A smattering, dear boy, a smattering. Sayonara, bonsai, mikado. Nado nado. I trust you're suitably impressed. This diary is littered with complicating looking characters, of which I can read precisely none.
So what was all that showing off about before then?
If you would be so kind as to show me, I would be happy to read it to you, Mr. Sholmes. I'm much obliged, my dear madam. The final entry here in Kazuma-sama's diary consists of just 2 short sentences. The first reads, 1:23 a.m. I can hear a faint whistling sound.
A whistling sound?
These are very deep waters. Pray, go on. The second sentence reads, 1:35 a.m. Looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill.
A speckled band? What on earth does that mean?
I have no idea. I've never heard that expression before. The ventilator grill, you say? The man was presumably referring to the lattice there on the wall, which connects to the adjoining cabin.
Yes, the adjoining cabin. Okay, got the diary. Oh, excuse me. God, I'm tired. I might cut this stream short at 2 hours because I'm honestly exhausted. I don't know why I'm so tired. I think it's the sleep aid. I tried taking some last night, and I took extra, and I think it worked. But it also had me completely wiped today. I've been lethargic all day. So I think it's going to be a short stream, unfortunately, because, man, I'm bushed.
So, I believe I've given you enough to consider for the time being at least. Do you have somewhere to go? As it happens, the victim's writings in his diary have piqued my interest. The matter warrants further investigation, I believe, and if I am still too long, the seasickness takes hold. Oh, I suppose. We're thinking of investigating the cabin next door, which the ventilator connects to.
Great detectives are a curious breed. Our minds rebel at stagnation. We crave mental exaltation.
So yes, I intend to investigate. Hence, the truth will become clear soon enough.
You think perhaps that we could go with you?
No, that would be somewhat complicated.
What? But why?
A simple glance at your wrist should reveal the answer.
Oh, these.
After all, you're the prime suspect in this matter.
No? There's no point in trying to turn it into a question. You're the one who decided I was the culprit in the first place.
Whatever do you mean? I have no recollection of naming you as the culprit at any point.
You must be joking. You just said it only a moment ago.
Dear me, you are clearly misguided. I would have no cause to say such a thing. Well, actually, Mr. Sholmes, I did hear you say that too.
You're quite sure?
Well, that's very strange.
I wouldn't have said you had the face of a criminal, you know? Not really. So what? Were you looking at my knees before? Some great detective you are.
Well, anyway, that was then and this is now.
What do you mean?
What I mean, sir, is this. If you are the culprit, then you must play the part more convincingly. Roll over and accept your fate.
Now he's just being plain rude. And off he goes, having just laughed in my face. His sense of humor is as twisted as his name.
Haruhara-san, what are you just standing there for?
Hmm?
You must go and investigate the cabin next door as well.
Aren't you forgetting something? What about these? There's no way I can...
Hiya! Get rotated, idiot. After Kazuma-sama spent his dying moments struggling to leave us a clue, you're willing to give up? You're just going to roll over and accept your fate?
As if you gave me any choice in the rolling over part. I think we still have some investigation to finish off in here first, don't we? Let's carry on examining what we can in this cabin while we wait for a chance to slip next door.
Good idea.
Situation doesn't look good for me, but there are still things I can do to help myself. And I owe it to Kazuma to do everything I can to find a way out of this, and to bring the real culprit to justice. Okay. We didn't examine the wardrobe yet. So it was in here.
It's 2 weeks since we set sail from Japan. Have you really been living in that wardrobe the entire time, Naruhodo-san?
I think living isn't quite the right description.
Oh, no, I suppose not.
What is EST again? 2 hours ahead of us? I'm gonna look that up real fast. Uh, 2 hour, yeah, 2 hours behind.
Although, it must have been rather exciting making this voyage in your own secret hideout.
Trouble was, I never knew when a member of the crew might come in. So yes, I did basically have to live in the wardrobe. And last night was no exception.
But because of that, you had no idea what was happening out here in the cabin.
No, sadly not. Ooh, excuse me. Bed's good. This is something apparently.
Yes, it's a bell cord contraption, I think.
What do you mean, contraption?
I read about it in a book I was studying that talked about life in Great Britain. Large households often have bell cords like this, which you can pull to ring a bell to summon servants.
Really? That sounds almost magical. Shall we give a little try?
Yes. In the interests of cultural research, obviously. I suppose nobody comes for lowly Japanese people.
No, I'm sure it's just that everyone is busy, that's all. Everyone's being so racist. I guess we'll check out this. I've noticed that, like, statuette there. The books are falling over on the shelf. Look, they're all toppled the same way.
And what's this? A statue of some god of the sea. Although he's fallen over as well.
Yes, it's almost as if the whole shelf has been ransacked and everything mown down at once.
I wonder if... perhaps it was Kazuma-sama doing his morning sword training, do you think?
I seriously doubt it.
Then perhaps... it was a ghost! Or it was you, Naruhodo-san, in a fit of rage!
I wouldn't have bothered leaving the wardrobe just to mess up a few books and a statue. Could the way these things have been thrown about have anything to do with the case, I wonder?
Well, I'll just set everything straight again. I don't like to see a mess.
Okay. Let's see. Got that. Okay, I think we're all done on this side. I think we have to talk to the Russian guy next. Oh, what about this?
There's nothing on this table at all. The plate and cutlery are all over the floor for some reason.
Yes, it's strange. Last night when I went to sleep, I'm sure everything was still... No, wait a minute.
What is it?
That's funny. I can't seem to remember anything about what happened after dinner at all.
So then perhaps you are responsible for what happened to Kazuma-sama.
No. Was there, I want to say turbulence, but I know that's not the correct term. Whatever the sea-bound equivalent of turbulent is, or turbulence is, you like hit by a wave and everything get knocked over. Maybe. All right, let's talk to this guy. Excuse me. What? I was wondering if I could ask you a favor. Would you mind if I investigated a little outside? Grandmother told me Japanese people do not make jokes, but it's not true, I see. Sorry? The criminal asking prison guard to help him escape. Very funny. We're in the middle of the sea. There's no chance of me escaping. Yet, you stay in this cabin until next port. Then it's up to Hong Kong police to decide what they do with you. You stay. Alright. There's no point trying to appeal to this man's better nature, that's for sure. Okay. Something I'm missing? Oh, the door. When I went for help and the crewmen forced the door open. This bolt had been firmly closed. It's quite a small bolt and not particularly sturdy. It just slides across to secure the door shut. But still, with the door bolted, there would be no way to get in or out of the cabin, that's for sure. It's no wonder everyone suspects me. She glares at me like that, I feel tense all up and down my spine. I remember reading once in a detective novel. The culprit used a needle and thread to draw a bolt across from outside the room in a situation like this. Yes, that's a clever trick, isn't it? I'm an avid reader of detective stories myself. But the door of this cabin and its frame are made of metal, and they seal together perfectly. There would be no possibility of using that needle and thread trick here, I'm afraid. When she glares at me like that, I feel pins and needles all up and down my spine. Oh, look over there. Crewman, do you mean? He wasn't there before, was he? That's what I thought. Why don't we try talking to him? Probably because I'm likely to get yelled at again. But I suppose I could try. There we go. Oh, actually, before we do, let's look at the court record and investigate stuff. That's just a picture. Yeah, okay. That is what it is. Still weird that you can zoom in this much. Seems kind of pointless, but alright. What's the article on the back here? This is interesting. Have you found something relevant, Naruhodo-san? Well, no, I mean, it looks like it might be interesting. I can't read a single word, I'm afraid. No, nor can I, but look at this picture. Perhaps it's about a beautiful young Russian princess, do you think? She is very pretty, isn't she? I suppose you enjoy articles like this, do you? I don't know. I can't make any sense of it. Ah, I'm glad you've noticed this article. I am also still here. Ah! Allow me to give you a short summary of its contents. Oh, thank you. He pops up everywhere, this Mr. Sholmes. It's about the disappearance of a young lady last night. Renowned prima ballerina of the Novovich Ballet disappears from Shanghai. During a performance in Shanghai, the famous dancer was reported missing. She is, of course, the talented young Nikolina Pavlova. Why are Russian names so hard to remember? Because they all end the same way. They have very similar structures. It would appear the woman was in costume when she was found to be missing from her dressing room. Wearing the diamond tiara you see pictured, which is worth some 20,000 rubles. Oh, how much is 20,000 rubles? I have no idea, but I'm quite sure it must be an unbelievable sum of money. Sato-san's eyes are shining like diamonds themselves. The tiara is the property of the Novovich Ballet. It would seem the director is beside herself with worry. Yes, I'm not surprised. The company is most anxious to recover both Miss Pavlova and the valuable tiara. They've requested international assistance at all ports with sailings to Great Britain. Could this be another case? Wrong voice. Could this be another case of a Russian fleeing his or her country? It does seem to be the Russian thing to do. I'm not even going to dignify that with a response, Mr. Naruhodo. Okay, how did that? The court record? Perfect. Am I winning? I've been accused of murder again. So, I'm gonna go with no. Apparently my character is not good at trying not to get accused of murder. You think it would be easy, but this is the second time in several weeks that this has happened. Okay, that's what it is. You could say they're rushing out of the country. You could say that. Okay, there's that. I think that's it. I think we'll just talk to Mr. New Crewman Man. Is that?
Is something wrong, Naruhodo-san?
Oh, no, it's just that crewman standing by the door. Hi. I have not thought about not murdering people. You know what? I'll give that a try next time. I can't help feeling like I've seen him somewhere before. Oh, wait, is that Hosonaga? I think it is.
Oh, yes, you're right. He does look familiar. Excuse me, sir.
Yes? What can I do for you? Yeah, it's absolutely Hosonaga. I recognize that face, but it can't be. It is.
I didn't know you were here, Inspector Hosonaga.
Hello again. What are you doing here? I think that should be my line. I was so stunned when I saw you, my heart stopped.
You'll be stopped, I hope.
I received some special orders to go undercover as a member of the crew and board this ship. You haven't murdered anyone you haven't been accused? Coincidence, I think not. It's fair. Again?
Certainly seem to enjoy undercover work, Inspector.
If there's anything I can do to help you, please ask. I never expected to see this man on board. But perhaps his presence can help me out of this hopeless situation. You got a little... You know what? Never mind. I don't need to examine. That's the wrong button. Converse! So, what are your special orders this time, Inspector?
Yes, and why are you dressed as a member of the crew?
I'm into cosplay. I'm so sorry. Hmm? This is all my fault. I take full responsibility. For what? My orders were to act as Asogi-san's bodyguard. It was Minister of Justice Jigoku who pushed for this overseas study tour to go ahead. And he entrusted me with ensuring that Asogi-san reached Great Britain without being assassinated. Assassinated? How could that even have been a possibility? I'm not sure. But these are complicated times. There are tensions between the world's greatest powers. Minister Jigoku said we should be prepared for all eventualities. This is incredible.
I don't believe it. Kazuma-sama was assassinated.
Obviously, we couldn't give Asogi-san a visible security escort. Why not? Why? That's not obvious at all. This is why I'm undercover now, posing as one of the crew.
I see.
And I didn't take my eyes off him the entire time we've been on board, from morning until night, every day. But I never imagined it would happen here, inside his own cabin, not here on the first class deck. I failed miserably at my assignment, and Asogi-san is dead as a result. I'm a disgrace. All I can do is humbly apologize. Inspector. So, if there's anything at all that I can do to help now, just say the word. Please, help. We're doing what we can to investigate Kazuma's death ourselves. Susato keeps calling him Kazuma-sama, and now that's all I want to call him. It's just wormed its way into my brain. I thought you might be. You didn't do it, did you? You're not the killer? Of course not.
We'd really like to investigate the cabin next door.
Yes, so we need to be allowed out of this cabin.
I'm sorry. What? You've been deemed a risk to the ship's safety. If you move to even touch the handle of the cabin door, that stormy-looking seaman there would surely snap your neck in two.
I suppose I'm not just a stowaway now. I think I'm a murderer as well.
Would it be possible to give me something to work with, do you think? I'm going to need something persuasive.
What do you mean?
I had a solid reason why the next door cabin should be investigated, for example. I'd do everything I could to persuade the captain to allow it. Really, I'd lay my life on the line if I had to.
But I don't see how.
There may be a way.
What? Really?
Think of how you tried to persuade me of your innocence, Naruhodo-san. By presenting me with a piece of evidence that you already had in your possession.
Evidence?
It's just the same as when you are in court. You must have done it many times during your trial. Simply select the present panel and choose some evidence that Inspector Hosonaga could use.
So, evidence that would give us a viable reason to investigate the next door cabin, is it? Alright, yes. I think I might know what we can use. Let's see if I can present the detective with evidence he needs to persuade the captain. What do we actually have here? Paper seal, possibly. That's... it's probably this. The speckled band hanging from the ventilator grill. Gotta go see what was on the other side. Oopsie daisy. Oh, I have to go back out of here. Present. There we go.
What's that?
It's Kazuma's diary.
Just before he died, Kazuma-sama wrote something rather strange in his diary. Strange? In what way? He wrote, "What looks like some kind of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill."
A speckled band? That is strange. Yes, we're still trying to work out what he meant by that. But what I'd like to know is...
Don't tell me. The ventilator, is it? You're very astute, Inspector.
That ventilator clearly joins to the next door cabin. That's right. So if we can investigate in there, we might be able to work out what that speckled band was. Alright then. I can't leave this cabin at the moment. I'm stuck here until we arrived at the next port. The captain has given me strict orders to guard the scene of the crime, you see. I'll have to entrust the investigation to you.
Really? You willing to do that?
Yes, as long as you don't leave the first-class cabin area. I'm afraid I can't remove those handcuffs, though. But what about the captain? Aren't you going against his direct orders?
I'm a man of my word. And I promise you that I'll lay my life on the line if that's what it takes to convince the captain. Although my life is constantly on the line because I'm actively dying every second of every day. Well, I mean, we're all dying of every second of every day, but I'm doing like way faster than everyone else. After all, I failed to keep Asogi-san safe. This is the least I can do, by dying in the line of duty, honorably.
Thank you.
Let's seize the moment then, Naruhodo-san. Just select move and we can leave this cabin at last.
Move. Alright, let's see what we can find out. I do like to move it, But do you like to move it, Susato-san? God, I hope so. What the fuck is that on the bottom left? What? Okay. 9th of January, 7:48 a.m., SS Boria First Class Cabin Passageway. Ooh, I'm finally out of that cabin. I have to admit, this isn't quite what I was expecting. It's less spacious out here than I thought it would be. And this is the most luxurious accommodation.
Yes, indeed. Kazuma-sama was being sent on the study tour by the government. That's why he was being put up in a first-class cabin. Even still, this is about twice as large as my accommodation in steerage.
Really? That must be awful. Christ. Oh, look over there. That's another crewman keeping watch. And he looks enormous, even if he is sitting down.
The door next to him leads to the second-class accommodation. I suppose he's making sure that no one comes in here who shouldn't.
I suppose. Like people in handcuffs?
Naruhodo-san, you look like a little boy visiting a toy shop for the first time. I would have thought you'd be used to the ship by now. You've been at sea for 2 weeks already.
Well, yes, I know. But the thing is, I was inside Kazuma's trunk when I first came aboard. And ever since then, I've been shut up inside that little wardrobe.
It must have been a very trying time for you.
Please, don't give me that pitying look. Okay, well, we're gonna look at whatever the fuck that is on the right, or left.
Ah, a trap for catching mice.
Is that what that is? Yes, we have plenty of those back home in Japan. Although they seem to be using a lump of chalk or something as bait.
Let me see. Yes, I think that's what is called cheese. It's made from the milk of cows.
Cheese? I wonder what that tastes like. It's never occurred to me that people around the world at this time would not have easy access to cheese. That's a very European thing. Because, you know, I don't think Japan had an abundance of cows. Or were crazy enough to intentionally let them milk curdle so they could make cheese out of it. The process of making cheese is weird. Delicious stuff. I fucking love cheese, but you have to wonder how they came about making cheese in the first place. Sort of the guy who thought about making toast. Like, what do you mean cook it again?
You can't eat it, Naruhodo-san. The trap will snap shut on your fingers.
Really? But, nah, I suppose you're right.
You weren't actually going to try it, were you?
All I've had to eat for the past couple of weeks is Kazuma's leftovers. You don't know how hungry I've been in that wardrobe.
Or you. I'll find a little snack for you later.
Sweet. God, I've got a fucking... We went out to dinner today with my grandma and my aunt. And I was going to get the cheeseburger, but then I saw they had poutine, and I decided to get poutine instead, because you can't always get poutine, but you can get burgers pretty much everywhere. And they gave me, like, a plate probably about yay big and, like, oval shaped, full of poutine. I ate maybe half of it, and I've got the rest in my fridge. Plus, because my grandma is, like, a very, like... She doesn't eat a lot because she's 90, almost 100. And so, like, she got fish and chips because she likes fish and chips, and she can't get them at the seniors home she's living in because it's not very good. They just keep fucking up the fish. So she got fish and chips, and it's the same amount of food. It was like a giant oval plate, like a piece of fish like this big, like fucking gigantic piece of haddock. And then like a plate full of chips, and she ate like not even half of it, like a third of it. And so she gave the rest to me for leftovers. So I literally ended with more food than I started with. Like I had a plate of poutine that I had half of, and then was filled with more fish and chips, 2/3 of a fish and chips plate. So yeah, I've got a lot of leftover food, and I'll probably be having some midnight snacks. Anyways, back to the game. Yeah, I think I'll wrap up at 10 because I'm feeling like it's the kind of tired where like my face is tingling, like my heart is being like, you have to go to bed to relax. So yeah, that what even is this stuff? Let me take a look at it. ZzzQuil, fucking diphenhydramine hydrochloride, 25 milligram. It said on the box to take 2, and I tried taking 1 first, and it worked decently. But I thought maybe I would try and take 2, and see how that went. And yeah, I'm still feeling the effects. So, I don't know about these. I think they get me to sleep easily. The problem is that the entire next day is a wash because I'm fucking exhausted. I was falling asleep in the car. So, yeah, I don't think I'll continue taking these. I'll try again tonight and see how it is. Well, actually, no, I don't want to be tired tomorrow because I have the ARMA op and then I have the stream tomorrow as well when I'm building Gunpla, and I don't want to be too tired to do that. So I'll probably just use. I also have these. What are these? Melanin gummies? Melatonin gummies. Yeah, melanin is the stuff that's in your skin that gives it pigment. Yeah, these things. I've been trying these as well. They don't seem to work very well. But I'm going to try to continue taking them and see how it works. Like I said, they haven't been working very well. But we'll try more. Got a good smell to them, though. They taste very uniquely. I couldn't tell you how they taste. I wouldn't be able to explain it. Anyways, let's keep going. What do you think this is? It's a very pleasing shape, isn't it?
That's the emergency alarm. It's probably best not to touch it.
Oh, an alarm.
It says, press only in times of emergency. Looks as though it sets alarm bells ringing all over the ship and brings the vessel to a complete stop.
Oh, this I have to see.
What are you doing, Naruto-san? You mustn't touch it.
But this is an emergency situation. Just look at these handcuffs.
You know full well that's not what the alarm is for. If you were to bring this vessel to a standstill for no good reason, you'd be in an even worse situation.
I wish everything would just stop. The ship included. My life as well.
If you have to do something foolish, at least make it something that doesn't affect anyone else.
Fine, suicide it is. Let's go in here. This is it. This is the cabin next to ours, the one the ventilator connects to.
Yes, the ventilator from which Kazuma-sama wrote that he saw a speckled band emerging.
Maybe whoever is in this cabin can help solve that particular mystery. Let's ask. Okay. That is a no. Why does this guy have stripes on his face? How do you even get tanned like that? Oh, excuse me, we, need to get inside this cabin here.
The sailor's eyes speak volumes. They're clearly saying, keep out. Bitch.
That's what I wrote on the sign we put over the wardrobe doors. Although this man's version is definitely more effective.
Doesn't look like he's going to let us pass.
That's a problem. Okay, I guess we'll talk to him. Let's see what this is first. Ship protocols. That's a huge book on the top of the table there, and there's a pen next to it.
Yes, that looks like the ship's log.
Shall we have a little look through it?
The writing is so neat and precise. Every detail about the voyage has been meticulously recorded.
You wouldn't expect a rough and ready sailor to have such beautiful handwriting. And nothing. No reaction at all. I thought he might appreciate the compliment.
I'm not sure that rough and ready is much of a compliment, Naruhodo-san, even to a sailor. Anyway, last night's log is mostly blank.
Presumably that means there was nothing to report. Alright. Let's talk to a big man. Excuse me, but could I ask you something? You little stowaway murderer. That wasn't a good start, was it?
Alright, let me try instead. Good day, Mr. Sailor. I am so sorry to trouble you, but could I perhaps ask something of you?
You little third-class lady's maid?
Oh.
You seem to have caught this sailor on a bad day, Susato-san. I am not sailor. My mother gave me name. I am senior crewman Beef Stroganoff. Beef Stroganoff? No! No, you can't do this man dirty like that. Oh, come on. Really? Beef stroganoff? Oh, this poor guy. Whew, the best thing is just to avoid eye contact, I think. Alright. Mr. Stroganoff, about this first-class cabin area. Here we are in finest part of Bordeaux's steamship, for very, very important persons. Sort of very important persons. Government officials, kings and queens traveling in secret, many important persons. That is why I am always guarding this place. Gosh, that's amazing. But somehow I let stupid stowaway inside. I want to pick you up and throw you in ocean, but Stroganov is not animal. Thank you?
If I may, I was wondering, is the cabin next to Mr. Asogi's currently occupied?
Duh. Susato-san, did you understand that?
It sounded like da. I think it's probably Russian for yes. Or no.
Genius. It is not permitted to visit other cabins without invitation. Well, sounds like there is somebody in the next door cabin at least.
Yes, it's tantalizing.
Okay. Can we get more information perhaps? Could you tell us about who's traveling in the cabin next to Mr. Asogi's? His name is Mr. Grimesby Royalot. Grimesby? That's his first name. His last name is Royalot, which I don't know the pun there. Grimesby Royalot? I don't know. I don't see the pun. I might look it up later. But his first fucking name is Grimesby. This poor kid. I'm certain that he's an absolute asshole. There's no way a guy like this is well adjusted. He's a very important Western gentleman. A Western gentleman? Do not think about it. He has nothing to do with the murder of student boy. How can you be so sure about that? But the Royalot is an authentic Western gentleman. Such a man would have no interest in loyally student from insignificant Far East Islands. That was harsh. So many people being so harsh to the Japanese in this game. Although I suppose, probably somewhat historically accurate, given the time period. I don't think Japanese sentiments were super great for most of history when it came to the rest of the world. Could you tell us when Mr. Royalot came aboard? That is not your business. Come to think of it, even though we've been at sea for 2 weeks now, and I've been in Kazuma's cabin the entire time, I've never once heard anything from the next door cabin, or even felt like there's anyone there.
Well, presumably, since this gentleman is occupying one of the first-class cabins, he must be rather important. Is that right?
That is not your business. Okay. Last night, she said... are you on the watch here all the time, Seaman Stroganov? The whole time, so criminals like you cannot come in, or to get out.
Wonder, could you tell us anything about last night at all?
It is sad about student boy. Were you on watch last night as well? Of course. And did you notice anything at the time? Anything unusual? Niet? Het? I don't know what that is. Susato-san, did you understand that? It was clearly a...
No.
I saw nothing unusual, nothing at all. You didn't hear any strange noises or sense anything was wrong in some way? I said no! Sorry! I'm not so sure. I could have sworn that he wouldn't catch my eye for a moment there. That is enough. I cannot say more now. Now, it is time for me to report to Captain. You must return to cabin. Yes, alright. Bulkhead to second class area, staying locked at all times. To escape when the lobster whistles on top of the mountain. Or as English say, when beaks fly. Yes, I understand. When the lobster whistles on top of the mountain.
Good. Now we can investigate this area properly, shall we?
Definitely. Alright, let's check out that, other room. What have we got in here? This is it. This is the cabin next to ours, the one the ventilator connects to.
Yes, the ventilator from which Kazuma-sama wrote that he saw a speckled band emerging.
Maybe whoever's in this cabin can help solve that particular mystery. Let's ask.
No answer.
Well, we tried.
Word of luck, it seems. There's no one in there to help us with our inquiries.
Inquiries? Shouldn't it be inquiries with an I? Is it the same thing? I don't know. How annoying. Ah!
What was that?
It came from inside the cabin.
Such a high-pitched scream. It must have been a woman.
Stand aside! I have no idea who this woman is or what she sounds like. Oh, that was Sholmes. I'm about to break the door down.
Mr. Sholmes!
I shan't be stopped. When the fit is on me, I revel in kicking doors off their hinges.
Please, wait, Mr. Sholmes. The door doesn't appear to be bolted.
It doesn't? Then how the deuce can I dispatch this muscular urge? What, pray, can I kick? I think we should go in. There's no time to talk about stress relief. The deductive urge to kick doors down. 9th of January, SS Buria, first class cabin number 2. Oh my god. Ooh, who are you? A Western gentleman? This man looks Russian to me. We heard a woman scream. A woman? Don't be absurd. As you can see, there is nobody but me in this cabin. True, this old man does appear to be the only person in here. But in that case, who just screamed? Get out, all of you, now! Please excuse the intrusion, but you're Mr. Grimesby Roylott, I believe? Yes, that's me, and you are? I'm the one and only, the actual Herlock Sholmes. You've heard of me, no doubt? No. I'm a great detective among great detectives, one who adorns the covers of popular magazines, no less. So I assure you, you may trust me completely. Man uses that magazine like a business card. I mean, it basically is. Detective? I do not trust detectives. We distinctly heard a scream emanating from within these walls. But there wouldn't appear to be a lady concealing herself within the wardrobe this time. Hey, transparent, it is knockoff Sherlock. That's the reason why, fun fact, this game took so long to be translated and localized to the West was because in Japanese it is straight up Sherlock Holmes. And the problem with localizing it to the West in English-speaking countries was that the Arthur Conan Doyle estate was not super pleased that they used the Sherlock Holmes character, and they wanted a cut. And Capcom did not want to give them that. So this was their way sort of to circumvent the Sherlock Holmes copyright, is to just rename him. Isn't Sherlock Holmes part of public domain now? He might be, which actually would also explain why they can skirt the copyright like this. So that might be why it took so long. I don't know. But yeah, this was the reason why they couldn't localize it until now. Something changed.
So might I be so bold as to ask you to open that small traveling case?
What? Don't be stupid. How could anyone fit in a small trunk like that?
Well, it's quite fashionable these days, is it not? Traveling inside one's trunk.
Don't look at me. Okay.
Oh my! Did you see that, Mr. Naruhodo?
Yes, the case just shook. Leave now, otherwise I'll call the steward. So this is Kazuma's neighbor, Mr. Grimesby Roylott. There's no doubt about it. The strange Russian man is hiding something. You could become Florius Greelance and not trip on copyright infringement. I honestly have no idea if I would actually have a case. Probably not. Not unless you were trying to also physically copy me. I don't think name-wise this Glorious Freelance is not trademarked. I wouldn't even know how to go about trademarking that or what that would even mean, so.
I couldn't agree more. Let's see if we can find some clues before that burly sailor returns.
Let's converse first. Mr. Roylet, we'd like to talk to you about something. No. Oh. I do not want to talk. Leave my cabin now.
Ah, this is going terribly. I'm not getting anywhere here.
I agree, but there may be someone else who can help. Perhaps that great detective could get somewhere with Mr. Roylet. Okay. I have a feeling none of these are going to get anything until I do something. So let's examine. Examine this first. What do you think you're doing?
Ah!
This is my cabin. Get out!
Could we just have a quick look inside your traveling case, perhaps?
No!
Ah, what a pity. I think we're out of luck.
I think you're right.
There doesn't appear to be anything more we can do.
Okay. So I have to talk to Sholmes. Okay. Do you have a moment, please, Mr. Sholmes?
You need only address me as Sholmes.
That's what I just did, isn't it? Probably in Japanese it was Sholmes-san, and he was like, "What the fuck is that? Just say Sholmes." Well, Mr. Sholmes, what were you doing in there?
Why, I was resting, of course.
Resting?
Indeed, I was contemplating our sea voyage from the confines of the wardrobe whilst waiting. Waiting for the inevitable time. As you would need to call my great powers of detection into service. Oh, it would seem that the hour is upon us now. The time has come. Am I mistaken?
Well, no, actually. You're spot on, for once.
Observe closely. Our Russian host in this cabin, Mr. Roylet, is clearly trying to hide something. And do you know what is the most effective weapon to use against a Russian hiding a secret? A gun! Why? The truth, of course. Though it should be pointed out that such methods are not exclusively for Russians.
Right.
Can you imagine how the Russian will react when the secret he guards so closely is exposed? Would you like to witness it? Oh, yes, please. Well then, what you are about to see may well astound you.
Oh. I think the stream fritted out for a second. I saw reconnecting pop up in OBS. Can anyone confirm? We all good? Help, somebody in chat? I don't have my own stream open, so I can't tell. I guess now that my internet is better, I could have my stream open if I wanted to. Nobody in chat is saying anything, so I assume we're good? Looks fine? Okay. Must have just been a hiccup. Because yeah, I saw OBS disconnect. Oh, my bitrate is 0. And it's back up to 4,000. There we go, not anymore. Seems like there's a little bit of trouble. Something's going on. Bitrate's in the toilet now. Oh, something's happening to my internet. Hang on. My bitrate says it's 64. I don't think that's what's supposed to happen. Slowly coming back up. Let me just check to see if there's anything I can do. I'll actually pull up the stream myself because I can do that. Because yeah, it says the bitrate's like 500 right now. It's the Pixel Freelance stream now? Yeah. That's something that continues to happen. Even though my internet is better. I don't know why. It looks okay to me now. Got it open in 720. Yeah, it looks okay. Still says my bitrate's low, but I guess this game doesn't need a ton of visual fidelity. Alright, that's fine. We'll keep that on 720. Shouldn't hurt the bandwidth too much. Anyways, continuing on. For I'm about to apply my great detective's greatly admired great deduction to the case. Oh, is this a minigame? I think it is. Could this man be a more hackneyed portrayal of a dubious Russian, I ask you? What? From time to time, it occurs to me. Is the fellow dubious on account of his Russianness, or Russian on account of his dubiousness? I really don't think either of those things should be occurring to you. Or anyone. That's right. And Mr. Sholmes. I know this man's beard and dark glasses are hard to ignore, especially on a first meeting, but I once read, it is a capital mistake to theorize before you have all the evidence. It biases the judgment. Shh! I must have complete silence. What are you doing? Why are you peering at my face like that? Ah, just as I thought. Yes, I have quite made up my mind now. There can be no other explanation that accommodates all the facts. Mr. Roylott, I have reached two incontrovertible conclusions. What do you mean? Number one, your true identity is that of a villain. Using those shears, you are about to end the existence of something most dear. Are you not? And number two, the other conclusion I've drawn, you are, at this very moment, no less, in the midst of committing a most grievous crime. Beneath that beard, your mouth quivers with nervous tension as you realize you have been discovered. Does it not? Oh, Narada-san. I never imagined I would witness one of Mr. Holmes' great deductions with my own eyes. That was a great deduction? Nothing can deceive Mr. Sholmes. In a single glance, he can deduce all there is to know about a person. What? What inevitable twaddle. Oh yes, I've read about it countless times in the adventures of Herlock Sholmes. And now I've experienced this astonishing impact of his great deduction firsthand. This is like a dream come true. I can hardly believe it, but all the color is drained from Mr. Roylott's face. It looks like somehow both of Mr. Sholmes' conclusions were right. Oh, how could you... How could I possibly know such things, you wish to say? Very well then. I shall elucidate. I shall explain how it was that I arrived at this pair of conclusions. So do I cordially invite you upon a journey of logical discovery. Let us board the train of reasoning. Put plainly, let's work through my deductions together. Ooh. Okay, this is cool. Topic 1. Old man's identity. Like the song. So, the dubious-looking Russian, Mr. Roylott, obviously, what catches the eye in the first place? This is rad, I love this. It's the enormous pair of shears in your hand. Now, we ask ourselves, what could you possibly want with such an implement? The answer, of course, is staring us in the face. You are on the verge of using the shears to cut away that copious beard of you sport. Of you sport? Wait, what? What did that say? Oh, the copious beard you sport. Fuck that up. Now, moving on. The question then begged is this. Why would you desire to rid yourself of this magnificent beard, Mr. Roylott? Once again, the answer is plain. We have clear evidence to shed light on the matter.
Regard, if you will, this morning's newspaper, in particular the fascinating front page article. Which, it would appear, you have read also, Mr. Roylott. I'm sure it needs no further clarification. The evidence that reveals your true identity is the article about the revolutionary. In translation, the headline reads, Revolutionary villain Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai. As you cannot fail to observe, the subject of the article possesses an extremely copious beard. I love these camera movements and this directing. Having noticed the article yourself, you decided to remove your incriminating facial hair before it gave you away. In short, your true identity is beyond doubt. You are the fearsome Russian revolutionary himself, villain Bolshevik. Not that I've heard of you myself, you understand?
Conclusion, a revolutionary on the run. I love this. This is fun.
Now, as for my second conclusion, you are, at this very moment, on the brink of committing a most grievous crime. And the proof of this crime, over there. Oh yes, Mr. Roylott. Taken unawares, people have a propensity to let their eyes stray, you see. Ah, and I assure you, the eyes speak so much more eloquently and honestly than the mouth. The answer we seek lies where the furtive glance falls. The proof of your crime sits before our very eyes. Yes, that traveling case. It is time, I think, that the case be opened and its contents laid bare.
No, I refuse.
What could you possibly be concealing inside, we ask? By my estimation, a young lady, perhaps, one slight enough to fit therein.
Don't be absurd.
And what, pray, would be the identity of the young lady in the traveling case? Dear me, we are not well suited to a life of crime, are we? Your careless...
I'm just saying the same thing over and over again. We're gonna go with Coudouet, because that sounds vaguely French, and it's clearly French.
Your careless Coudouet betrays you. Once again, we need only follow your furtive glance to find the answer. Yes, the reason you refuse to open your traveling case can equally be found in the pages of the newspaper. But there is another, most stimulating article. If we turn from the fleeing revolutionary to the back page. Renowned prima ballerina of the Novovich Ballet disappears from Shanghai. Such a headline can lead us to but one conclusion. Your crime is that of abduction. And according to the article, the young lady's name is Nikolina Pavlova.
Oh yeah, it's definitely French. No other language besides French has that many vowels in a row.
Thus concludes Herlock Holmes' great deduction of this Russian enigma, Elemensky.
Fucking Elemensky. Because it's Russian instead of elementary, it'd be Elemensky. Because it's vaguely Slavic. Do you get it? Alright. Moving on. This fucking game. Oops. Susato-san, that wasn't one of the great deductions I've been hearing so much about, was it?
Well, the stories are full of Mr. Sholmes' brilliant deductions, you know? But that did seem a little different somehow.
Excuse me, Mr. Sholmes, could you come over here for a moment?
What the fuck do you want? Pray, what can I do for you?
It's about your deductions. Would you mind?
Not at all. Go on.
Well, to start with, there's the newspaper article. I think we had the same discussion before, but these two men look nothing like each other.
Ah, yes, I recall our discussion earlier, and at the time, I believe I told you. that the man is a revolutionary, well able to revolutionize his own appearance. In fairness to Mr. Sholmes, Mr. Roylott does look more like this man than you do.
That's not the point. And another thing, the part about him abducting the ballerina.
Indeed, a truly startling revelation. Pray, meet us at the Waking Sands. Please return to the Waking Sands.
If he actually says, he's already referenced the Crystal Tower. You were here before, but he did straight up mention the Crystal Tower. Apparently it must be a reference to something else, because I don't think they reference FF14 in this. Or Final Fantasy in general. It would seem like a weird choice for an Ace Attorney game.
At first glance, the case would appear too small to accommodate a young woman.
Not just at first glance, it is too small, clearly. It'd be like if you fit a 5-year-old into that case, even if you pushed really hard.
I don't suppose the missing ballerina is a 5-year-old child, is she? I mean, you don't know? No, the young lady's 15.
No, I didn't know. How could I?
Well, if she's 15, then 10 years worth of her would be poking up from the case. Some years ago, I read something pertinent, I believe. A troop of men consuming vinegar daily in order to promote a certain litheness in their bodies.
Vinegar?
For such a sour bunch, it would surely be simplicity itself to contort oneself into the confines of that small case. Oh dear, you might be thinking of contortionists in the circus, Mr. Holmes.
This whole thing is turning into a circus. Which reminds me of my favorite insult from all of Ace Attorney, and possibly into the entire world, which is, you are not a clown, you are the entire circus. God, I love that line. Edgeworth is the best.
Mr. Naruhodo, something has occurred to me about Mr. Sholmes' deductions just now. I think his powers of observation are, well, magical. His eyes cut to the heart of the matter almost instantly. It's just where he directs his attention and his logic that seem a little off.
Your idea of a little may be a little off itself, Miss Susato.
It's just one or two key words in his deductions that seem to let him down. So I was wondering if we might perhaps tactfully switch them for alternatives. What do you think?
Switch some key words in his deductions.
Yes, but very tactfully. I feel sure if we could do that, we'd unlock the true genius of Mr. Sholmes' great deduction. Precisely the thought that was going through my own mind.
This man is a lot of work.
At times, I wonder how anyone puts up with me. I'm the fucking worst. Nobody likes me. My life is misery.
It's not that funny.
Ah, and you, my good fellow.
Sorry?
Take a moment to look at your wrists.
My wrists?
Ta-da! Ah! Where are your handcuffs?
Huh?
How did you? I felt they may hinder your ability to follow me in our dance of deduction.
I don't believe it.
Mr. Sholmes, you are a marvel. And don't worry, I shall restore the shackles to your wrists when we are finished.
I'm not worried. In fact, I'd rather stay like this.
So, let us begin. Sherlock Holmes is proud to present Logic and Reasoning Spectacular.
Course correction. Hold it, Mr. Sholmes. You fucking moron.
So, the dubious-looking Russian, Mr. Roylott, obviously what catches the eye in the first place, is the enormous pair of shears in your hand. Now, we ask ourselves, what could you possibly want with such an implement? The answer, of course, is staring us in the face. You're on the verge of using the shears to cut away the copious beard you support. I'm not sure. Would you really use shears like that to cut off a beard?
I doubt that's something I'll ever have to worry about. Doesn't quite sit right with me, though.
It doesn't seem to be sitting right with Mr. Roylott either.
Which means, I suppose, that the deduction is wrong.
Let's try to switch a key word here, Naruhodo-san, and see if it helps matters.
Alright, but how?
I think we should start by taking a long, hard look at Mr. Roylott.
I wonder if it's really his beard that he intended to use those shears on.
Exactly. If we do manage to find something that seems to fit the sense of Mr. Sholmes' deduction better,
Then what?
then I'll leave the rest in your capable hands, Naruhodo-san.
Why am I the one to do something about this? Well, anyway, let's see if there's anything we could even use to switch around in that last sentence. What exactly was Mr. Worldlet really going to use those enormous shears for? Thick hats? Oh! I actually thought that this was the ballerina in disguise. That made the most sense. That's what it's for.
What the? What's this? It looks like a cascade of stunning golden locks.
No. The color is not the point. The point is, what's it doing on the back of Mr. Worldlet's head? And how is it growing out from underneath his thick black hair?
Well, yes, that's true. So it's stunningly beautiful and stunningly surprising.
Something definitely not right here. Yeah, it's gotta be this.
Yes!
I like the effects. This is so theatric, I love it. You are on the verge of using the shears to cut away the golden locks you sport.
Indeed, you have identified the precise detail I was intending to expose. Such lush, golden hair certainly does not befit an old man.
Not a man at all. You're a woman. And judging from the length and sheen of your hair.
One still very much in your youth.
Oh no.
If only I had managed to cut off my hair, no one would have suspected. The question then begged is this: why would you desire to rid yourself of these magnificent locks? Once again, the answer is plain. We have clear evidence to shed light on the matter. I'm sure it needs no further clarification. The evidence that reveals your true identity is the article about the revolutionary.
Wrong. Well, that was a shock. I had no idea that old man was really a young woman in disguise. Did you? What? Why are you staring at me like that?
Yes, it was a surprise, Naruhodo-san. You're enjoying this, aren't you?
Sorry?
You look like you're in your element as you dance around the room deducing the facts with Mr. Sholmes.
I'm just doing what we agreed. I'm not having fun or anything. This is strictly business, not strictly...
Yes, I understand. Say no more.
Well, anyway, let's focus on this next part of Mr. Sholmes' deduction, shall we? The evidence that he's picked out doesn't fit the facts at all now.
Oh, that's true, given that Mr. Worldlet is actually a woman.
Exactly. He, or rather she, can't possibly be this merciless revolutionary.
I suppose it's because the deduction as a whole has taken a different direction now.
Yes.
Let's switch the evidence for something else. Something that fits the facts as we now understand them.
For some reason, this woman needed to try to hide her true identity. I feel as though I've either read or heard about a young woman in a situation like that recently. Alright, I'll do my best. That's easy. Boop.
Yes!
Who else would it be? The evidence that reveals your true identity is, of course, the article about the ballerina.
That's right. You've hit the nail on the head. Renowned prima ballerina of the Novovich Ballet disappears from Shanghai. It would appear we are finally able to address you by your true name.
Yes, because your true identity is that of the Novovich Ballet's prima ballerina.
Miss Nikolina Pavlova.
Dog! Oh god. It's Mission Impossible 3! I'm getting a lot of money's worth out of my Russian accent for this case.
You're right. My real name is Nikolina Pavlova. But please, I beg you, don't tell anyone.
Now, why is she running? We don't know. Oh god, we saw this.
Now, as for my second conclusion. You are, at this very moment, on the brink of committing a most grievous crime. And the proof of this crime? Over there. Oh yes, Miss Pavlova. Taken unawares, people have a propensity to let their eyes stray, you see. Ah. And I assure you, the eyes speak so much more eloquently and honestly than the mouth. The answer we seek lies where the furtive glance falls. The proof of your crime sits before our very eyes. Yes, that traveling case.
This woman is the ballerina, and she's right in front of our eyes. So clearly she can't be inside that traveling case as well.
No, that's right. It seems she wasn't abducted at all.
In which case, what is the crime this young woman is apparently committing? I can see I'm going to have to step in and fix the great detective's mistake again. I'm fumbling my words.
You seem to look pleased, Naruhodo-san. Do you like the idea of another chance to dance around with Mr. Sholmes?
Stop it. Anyway, there must be something else here that shows what this woman is up to. Oh, wow. Gee, I wonder what it is. That was so difficult. I guess this is the first time they're showing it to you, right? It's basically a tutorial. Wow, look at this dazzling tiara.
I've never seen anything like it. Are those real diamonds, do you think? Oh, Naruhodo-san, try it on.
What? Me? Isn't it usually girls who wear tiaras? Wouldn't you like to try it on?
Oh, no, I couldn't possibly. It's far too beautiful.
Why does this tiara look familiar? I feel like I've seen it somewhere recently.
Yes!
Easy. The proof of your crime is surely this tiara.
Ah. I believe this tiara is worn on stage by dancers in the Novovich Ballet, is it not? Indeed, it would appear to be identical to the tiara pictured here in this newspaper article. And if the reporting is to be believed, it's an item worth 20,000 rubles. In summary,
The crime you have committed is theft.
oh no. Yes, you left your ballet troupe unlawfully taking their precious tiara with you.
Ah!
I have no one, no family, no friends. I am all alone, and I need money. But I did not steal the tiara. It was a present from, how do you say, an Earl of Prussia. It belongs to me.
This girl's only 15 years old, and she's run away all by herself. She must have been extremely lonely.
All right, I will tell you everything. There is no point to hiding it now. Come, come, let us not be hasty. What? There remains one unsolved mystery about you. Mystery? What do you mean? You have staunchly refused to open this traveling case of yours in our presence. It is reasonable to conclude that there exists some reason why you wish it to remain closed. Is that not so, Miss Pavlova? My dear...
Nope, wrong voice.
My dear girl, there is no sense in playing games with me. Nothing escapes my attention. Indeed, I have a very good idea of the contents of your case even before I have ever laid eyes on them. Dear me, you are not well suited to a life of crime, are we? Your careless courtier betrays you. Once again, we need only follow your furtive glance to find the answer. Yes, the reason why you refuse to open your case is written on the books on the shelf.
He's completely changed tack with this deduction now.
I think Mr. Sholmes is adapting his logic to the changing circumstances, don't you?
Maybe, but why has he suddenly brought the bookshelf into all this? It's just a wild guess, surely.
Oh, do you think so?
Well, it doesn't seem likely that the reason why this young woman doesn't want to open her case would have been written in a book that doesn't even belong to her.
Yes, that's true, but still. Miss Pavlova certainly did cast her eyes in that direction. I noticed it myself.
And there has to be another reason why she won't open her case. And it must be somewhere in the same area. That's where her gaze was involuntarily drawn.
I agree. That's the only answer.
Whatever she has hidden inside that case should be revealed by following her gaze in the direction of the bookcase. Rules of passage, small picture. What is this? I think it's the rules of passage. I think she brought a pet.
This is a charming little picture, isn't it?
What is it? Someone climbing a steep mountainside?
Or descending one, it seems to me.
You've been on the flat sea for a while. Maybe you start seeing hills and mountains and everything. Okay, yeah. It's the rules of passage. She brought a pet.
These are the rules of passage for travel aboard the SS Borea. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden.
I mean, I guess you could have also brought a gun or some shit, but I think it's a pet. That's why the thing shook around, right? It was exactly the same notice in our cabin, too. I wonder what happens if you break the rules.
Oh dear, I'm sure the punishment would be severe, Naruhiro-san. You'd probably be left adrift in the freezing cold ocean, or shut inside a tiny wardrobe for days on end.
So I've actually been serving time for weeks now, have I? Yep, that one.
Yes!
Yes, the reason why you refuse to open your case is written in the rules of passage. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden.
Inside that case of yours is something forbidden from carriage on this vessel. That is the real reason why I refuse to open it, thus revealing its contents.
As we've seen, the trunk wobbles from time to time, but no weapon or other dangerous item would move of its own accord.
Which leaves but one possibility, Miss Pavlova, inside your traveling case.
Is the last item listed as forbidden the vessel's rules of passage. A pet. Ah! I love these deduction sequences. They're fantastic. Just so fucking goofy, but so fun. Look at those goofballs. How could you not love them? Elementary. Hell yeah. So clearly, you aren't who you said you were.
No, I am not Grimsby Royalist. My real name is Nikolina Pavlova. Everything you said was correct. You absconded during one of your ballet company's performances in order to escape your homeland. Later that same night, you stole aboard this vessel.
It couldn't have been easy. The Borea is a huge steamship with a vast crew. Could you really have snuck on board without being noticed?
In order to obscure your true identity, you somewhat recklessly took the guise of an old gentleman. And you intended to sever all links with your past by severing your long hair. Yet to a woman, hair is no trifling matter. My personal recommendation is to leave well alone.
So, if it was just you about to cut off your own hair, who was it that let out the scream we heard from outside the cabin?
That veritable tinkling of a bell? Why, none other than this young lady, naturally.
More like a full set of pipes, if you ask me.
I was so scared when I ran away in Shanghai. I was sure they would come looking for me. That's why I decided to, how do you say, disgust myself so no one would recognize me. As a result, you transformed yourself into that questionable old man.
I see.
I put on the forehead and fake beard. Then, just before you came in here, I saw in the newspaper, right on the page, there was a picture of me. I was so frightened, I couldn't stop from screaming. I knew that if I didn't change my appearance completely, they would find me. So I decided to cut all of my hair as fastly as possible. I picked up the scissors in my hand and... At that precise moment, we walked in through the annoyingly unlocked cabin door. Things happen like that sometimes, don't they?
Things do indeed happen like that, from time to time. Are those two even talking about the same thing?
There's just one more thing I'd like to know. What exactly do you have inside your traveling case? You're right. It is my dear friend inside. My only friend in the whole world. Please, don't tell anyone. If the captain finds out, if you say any to any of the crew. Our secret is safe with us, I assure you. But in return, you must tell us in as much detail as you can muster about the events of last night. Yes, all right. I will tell you. Mr. Naruhodo? Wasn't it something, Mr. Sholm's great deduction?
It was certainly something, yes. I'm just not entirely sure what. But at least Miss Pavlova has agreed to tell us what she knows. That's incredible.
Indeed, it is incredible. And one more thing.
Oh, yes? What?
Observe your wrists.
My...
Your hands are cuffed again.
What? But how?
True to my word, I have restored your shackles.
When? And why?
There's still a shadow of guilt cast over you, Mr. Naruhodo. I'm sorry to say, it can't be helped at the moment.
Can it? Really?
Anyway, let's listen to what Miss Pavlova has to say. I can't go on not knowing. I have to find out what the speckled band that Kazuma-sama wrote about in his diary really was.
Alright. We are going to save here because I am very tired. So, but we managed to go 2.5 hours. So we got some time in. Wasn't a terribly short stream. But yeah, that Zequel knocked me out real bad. So I will not be taking that again. But we are going to find somewhere to drop you off at. We'll see who's online. Tomorrow, excuse me, my voice is cracking. I'm so fucked up. Honestly, this has done a number on my voice. Tomorrow we will be starting a new Gundam kit for Gun Plus Saturday. That will be the HG Zabanya Final Mission, or Final Battle version, or whatever it's called. The P Bandai one. So look forward to that. I'm looking forward to it. Should be a good time. But, of course, you can get stream alerts there. After Saturday, I'll be streaming again until Tuesday. So you can go ahead and check out Ron and Matt if you haven't already. Or Ron and Matt. Jesus Christ. John and Matt. I'm falling apart. You can see how tired I am right now. But yeah, let's find a place to raid. Thanks everybody for watching. Enemy Pup is playing Titanfall 2. We will be raiding him because I like him a lot and he doesn't get enough love. Enemy Pup. Cool. Alright, well thanks everybody for watching. Again, apologies for the short stream, but I'm ruthlessly fucked up right now. It's the kind of tired that I can feel like in my face, which is bad. But yeah, hopefully we'll see you tomorrow. Go say hi to Enemy Pup, playing some Titanfall 2, which is rad. Titanfall 2 is a great game. And hopefully we'll see you here tomorrow. I think I've said that like 5 times now. I'm so tired. Anyways, see you later, folks. Go have fun with Stray.